Okay, a very common question we get asked is about bushfire attack level, or BAL or BAL. That's what it stands for. BAL is bushfire attack level. Are tiny homes rated? What's their BAL rating? Okay, it's a long question and it's quite a sensitive topic. Obviously, we've had a huge amount of bushfires lately, and we've been affected down here in the south coast. And you'll see here the bush was burnt out at Christmas, and yeah, so we definitely know all about BAL. The problem is with BAL, it's a building standard for residential buildings. So the government has this BAL rating, and it goes from, say, BAL 12.5, and it progresses up to BAL 40, and then after that it goes to what's called BAL FZ, or flame zone. So the closer you are to the bush, the higher your rating, and the more requirements the government puts on what the building is to be made of. Now, the thing about that is, it doesn't actually apply to caravans. That's legally what we make, is a caravan. That's what it's classed as, a caravan. We call them tiny homes, or tiny homes on wheels. It's essentially a caravan designed to look like a house. So it's actually a caravan. Now, in New South Wales, and it will change from state to state, the rule states that if you are in what's called a bushfire prone area, in other words, an assessment has been made by the local council that your site is close to bush, so you're called bushfire prone, and then when you're in that prone area, there's levels. That's the BAL. And how close you are to the bush depends on the height of the restrictions that are put on the building materials. With a caravan, the rule says that if you're in a bushfire prone area, you must keep the wheels on. Okay? That's the BAL rating as such. There is no BAL rating for a caravan. You just got to keep the wheels on in case you got to move it if the fire's coming. Okay? So you can't ring us and say, oh, I want my tiny house built to BAL 40. It doesn't really apply in that sense. On the other hand, though, we can do and build the tiny homes to a certain level. It's not officially rated to say a BAL, but we can use the same materials that you would otherwise use in a house. So if you look at the house here, this one is cedar. It's being kept in its natural state, no oiling, so this one's going to fade naturally, and that's a certain look that people are after. That wouldn't pass, say, a BAL rating up to a certain level. So I believe that up to 600 millimeters off the ground, it has to be non-combustible materials. Well, with all our tinies, they're off the ground 600 mils. So it's not until a certain level that we have to then worry about the cladding. So the cladding here, if you're looking for something that's more bushfire prone, or not prone, but like something more resilient to a bushfire, we have a number of different choices. So you'll see ColourBond is something that we can use. It's metal, so it's non-combustible. So that's another option if you wanted to swap out the cladding to a ColourBond. And that's a nice look that you can get. We've made a number of tiny houses like that. So if you are looking for a bushfire attack level or a BAL rating higher, again, like I said, it's not exactly the same coding, it's not the same wording, but I understand what you're making reference to when you do ask for that. So we can make it. The glass can be swapped to toughened glass, which is one of the requirements. The fly screens can be swapped from fiberglass mesh to metal. They're all more extra costs, and it's your choice if you want to do it. But if you're speaking with council and they've said it needs to be BAL rated something, they're wrong, because they're classing it as a house. We're selling you a caravan. So just be mindful, it's more a personal choice if you choose to upgrade the external finishes on your tiny house to be more BAL rating as such. The other one that's also a common one that we use here, which is non-combustible, is fibre cement sheeting, painted. That's also non-combustible. But all these other ones are timber. This one's a composite with WeatherTex. But all these are just different looks that you can do. If you wanted the most fire, say, resistant tiny house, you would have ColourBond with fibre cement sheeting. Legally speaking, though, to summarise, the tiny house, you must keep the wheels on. That's its BAL rating. That's its bushfire attack level. Hopefully that answers your questions.